George Carlin did it. Now he's dead, so I'm doing it. Feels good. George Carlin. People say, like, George Carlin, why don't you, like, latch on to a newer comedian? Oh, he's derivative. He stole from Bill Hicks. He stole from this person. Oh, he wasn't that funny. He was angry at the end. And I'm just like, look, the point of George Carlin is that he was independently minded. Or at least he portrayed that in his act, in his books. He didn't listen to just one side. He critiqued both sides of the political spectrum, if there's only two, which there's more than two. There's closer to four, which I have here. But Carlin, he had libertarian views, and he had some views that you'd call progressive, and he was critical of war, and so I think a lot of people can relate to his ideology, whatever he presented. And of course, he presented it with humor, which is extremely powerful, as evidenced by President Trump's ascent and rise to the presidency. Entertainment is very motivating to voters, and it makes you more personable, and it helps keep you paced with people. Whereas, some people prefer the more academic, professor-like demeanor of a Barack Obama, for instance. That might be a preference of theirs. But that put him sort of, in many ways, he was pretty personable. I like Obama in terms of his personality. But he's not quite as, and this again is a, it is a way that people present themselves. It's unclear what their true personality is like when they're by themselves or with their friends and family. But Trump presents himself as a bit more rough around the edges and relatable. Okay, even though he's a billionaire, Manhattan socio-elite, real estate developer, he comes off, people got the impression, perhaps mistakenly, that he was a small-town man. He was a Montanaite or something. Like he was just a guy for the rednecks, I guess. No offense intended, of course, to the rednecks, but he gave off that impression, whereas Obama gives you this sort of professorial, very proper, just the way he speaks, the way he carries himself. But Carlin is one of my greatest heroes. And I don't agree with all of his politics, and I don't think that all of his comedic acts were perfect or funny. Okay, towards the end of his career, he did get a bit more vitriolic, and generally, everything comedy is subjective. Okay, so you might have some qualms with that, but in terms of, what he brought to the table, Carlin was very free-minded individual, and it's probably because of all the acid he dropped. You start to look at the world. I've never done acid, but you start to look at the world a little differently. And he had his comedic transformation. So he's just he's a guy that would be great to have around today. Let's put it that way. We have plenty of voices that are similar to Carlin, that say what they're thinking and don't hold back. But few have the persuasive ability of Carlin. He had the way he tied in his comedy with his politics, with his look at psychology and philosophy and all these things about religion. He was an avowed atheist. Just like someone like Christopher Hitchens, he was just somebody that, when you listen to them, whether you agree or not, they're authentic. And that's something that I think people are missing today with a lot of the mainstream entertainers. That Carlin would be their peers today if he were alive and younger, of course.